This video is sponsored by EcoFlow. Well, good morning and welcome back to the channel. Now, I normally start most of my videos with my morning coffee, but this morning we don't have any power. Now, here around Cambridge, power cuts are pretty infrequent. And in fact, this power cut is done just for you. And I'll explain why in a moment. Now, normally when we have a power cut, then the backup interface on the house will kick in and will supply power from the batteries. But what if you don't have a backup interface? What if you don't have solar and batteries? What can you do if there's a power cut for any meaningful length of time? Now, here in East Anglia, we're quite lucky. We get infrequent power cuts and generally only a few minutes at a time. But what if you were to get a power cut that would last a day or a week even? What would you do then? And that's where the sponsor of today's video comes in, EcoFlow. Now, a couple of weeks ago, EcoFlow sent me their Delta 3 Max Plus. Now, the Delta 3 Max Plus is a 2 kilowatt hour power station. That means it has 2 kilowatt hours of storage and it can run most of your household appliances, no problem at all, obviously up until the battery is empty. But the question was exactly what can you run and for how long? So today we're going to test that. Okay, to simulate the power cut, what I've done is I've unplugged my fridge and my freezer, the kettle and the toaster. The bare essentials for existence. Now obviously we don't want our food to defrost or anything that's in the fridge to get too warm. And if we want to be able to make something light and simple for lunch, I can toast a bagel, I can make a cup of tea or coffee. If the power cut were to go on for any longer than that, we'd go out for dinner. And that's exactly what we're going to do in this scenario. So I am going to plug in the fridge, the freezer, the kettle, the toaster, and maybe some other devices, a small Wi-Fi base station, and a few other things just to see exactly how long this power station will run for. Now, on top of the power station, you'll see there is a digital clock. And this is so you can hold me to account. We will revisit this every couple of hours and see exactly how much power is left in the power station and what the time is. And I'm going to run this until the power station is exhausted, or if it's going to look like it's going to run out in the middle of the night, then I'll call it and plug the fridge and freezer back into the mains. Now, I like to be prepared for these kind of scenarios, and the last thing you want when the power's out at 3 o'clock in the morning is to be hunting around the house looking for extension leads to be able to plug the fridge and the freezer in. So I keep a bag in my garage that has 3 or 4 extension leads in it, relatively long, that allow me to connect all the things I need into a power station. And I don't use those extension leads for anything else. They are there for emergencies only. Okay, so let's get the power station hooked up to the fridge and the freezer. And as you can see right now, they are off. So there's no power going to them. So I need to get power running to those, and then we'll see how long it thinks it's going to last.
20 minutes later.
Now, what I've done is I've run those extension leads. As you can see there, they come out of the cupboards. They run along the tops of the cupboards there, and they all arrive at the EcoFlow power station. So let's just power it up. You can see there we have 100% charge. Now, if we're going to have a multi-day blackout, one of two things is going to happen. We're either going to decamp to a hotel where there is hot showers and food, or the electricity company are probably going to bring a generator and hook it up to the local transformer and then be able to supply power to the house. So really the power stations fit in where you've got a short-term power cut, maybe a day or two, maybe you'll go out for dinner in the evening, but during the day you might need to work. So you might need to power your Wi-Fi base station off of it. You might need to plug in a laptop to charge or charge your phones. So we're going to do all of that over the next day or two, or however long the power station lasts.
3 hours later.
So it's been 3 hours since we started the test. We've used about 22% of the battery, but to be fair, we've put a bit heavy load on it in the last few hours. Obviously, this is my nth cup of tea. Bit of toast and peanut butter. Now here's the important question. Are you a milk in first person or a tea bag in first person? Let me know in the comments below. But just so we're clear, if you're the kind of heathen that puts the milk in before the tea's brewed, we can't be friends. So now the system's going to sit and tick over for the next few hours, keeping the fridge and the freezer running. A few more cups of tea as we go through the day.
5 hours later.
So I'm just heading out to get a takeaway in the spirit of a blackout, and that we can't cook, we can't use our induction hob. Then I'm going to be going out to get a takeaway. Now, before I left, I had a quick glance at the screen. We've got about 57% battery power left, which should see us all the way through the night, no problems whatsoever. I will do a quick check before I go to bed just to make sure, because obviously I don't want the freezer or the fridge to be going off in the middle of the night if the battery runs out. So that would get me into a lot of trouble with the CFO. Chances of me being able to buy any new batteries after that would be almost zero. So yeah, I'm going to go grab some food and I'll do a quick check-in with you in a few hours' time.
Later.
Well, it's 9:15 in the evening. The EcoFlow is still running. We're at 41%, and it looks like we've got about 11 and a half hours of battery left. So that should see us through to breakfast time tomorrow morning. So roughly a full 24-hour period since we started the test. So we're just going to let it run. It's going to keep the fridge and the freezer running all night long. We're just going to have some supper, have a little bit of hot chocolate, and watch a bit of TV and go to bed. And we'll see in the morning how much power we've got left.
The next morning.
Well, good morning. And welcome back to day 2 of the experiment. Now, our fake, not for a YouTube video power cut is about to come to an end. So I've just been told by the power company that the power should be coming on right about now. Now, during the last 24 hours, the power station has run our fridge and our freezer completely faultlessly. No issues with it whatsoever. It's also maintained our internet connection, allowed me to get some work done, and we've made N cups of tea. Details on the screen below. We've also made a number of rounds of toast, we've toasted some bagels, and we've generally lived a pretty minimalist lifestyle. I may have consumed a couple of pot noodles during the day. But because we were simulating what would happen during a real power cut, we actually went out for dinner last night. So we haven't had to try and run an induction hob or anything like that. But it does mean that we've been able to survive a full 24 hours without using mains power in a pretty minimalist way. Now, the Delta 3 Max Plus has been faultless. It has continued to supply power for that whole 24-hour period. Now, if you take a look in the app, you can see there are a few peaks there. Those are generally when we've had the kettle on, or we've been using some other high wattage devices running off the power station. But other than that, it has continued to supply power at a pretty consistent rate to keep the fridge and the freezer running. So to bring this test to a conclusion, it has given me the confidence that should the power go out, that we have a minimum of 24 hours that we can keep our fridge and our freezer and basic lifestyle running before we have to think about alternate solutions. Now, as I said at the beginning of the video, we do have another solution. We have a whole house backup interface. But not many of my neighbours do. So it's also nice to know that if we keep this thing charged, should the power go out, we can actually drop this off at our neighbour's house and they can have some power until the power is restored. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you found this interesting. And if I'm lucky, I'll see you back here real soon for another video. Take care. Bye-bye.